to rent or to buy. Which one is really right for you? Today, we will talk about the pros and cons of both so that you can make an informed decision. Before we get into it, hit the notifications bell and subscribe to make sure that you don't miss out on any critical home buying tips. Renting can be a huge decision, especially if you're a young professional just starting out, a family that needs more space, or someone that just needs to feel settled. And if that's you, I'm glad that you're here. My name is Stephanie, and I'm a top producing realtor in Chicago, and we have worked for over 20 years with buyers and renters. In this video, I'm going to break down all the good stuff and the not so good stuff about buying or renting and which one will fit your lifestyle perfectly. First things first, let's talk about the differences between renting and buying. First, as a purchase, you're building equity in the property. And as a rental, the money might as well be burned because it's just gone at the end of the lease. So what is equity? Equity is the amount that your house is worth minus how much you owe on the house. So every single one of your monthly payments that you make, some of that money goes to build that additional equity. It's like savings in your home. Next is the maintenance on your home. Obviously, if you own your home, you're responsible for your own maintenance that happens, but you have the flexibility of taking care of things as quickly or as slow as you prefer to do them. When you're renting, the landlord is responsible for all of the maintenance, but this could also mean that you may end up waiting a couple weeks for, let's say, a broken washer and dryer. Another difference is flexibility. At the end of a lease, a renter can just walk away. If you decide in a year or two that you don't want to live in a home anymore that you own, obviously you would have to make a decision whether you're going to rent it out or you're going to sell it. And one of the biggest differences, in my opinion, is when you add money into the unit in upgrades or improvements that you really want to enjoy. As a homeowner, you will get that money back when you go to sell. As a renter, you're just improving the property for your landlord. You also can be limited by not being able to make any changes to the property depending on what your landlord's rules are. And one more difference to keep in mind are the upfront costs. In a rental, you have very little upfront costs. You may have a security deposit or a move-in fee and typically 1 month's rent on top of that. In a purchase, you're going to have larger upfront costs, typically of down payment and closing costs, which are definitely more substantial. Now let's jump into the two similarities. Number one, a lot of times rentals are viewed as non-committal. However, you are still committed to that lease for the entire duration of that lease term and with all of the landlord's rules and regulations. Next, and the most important one, is that you have to pay that monthly expense to live somewhere. So you're either building up equity in your own property or in your landlord's property. Now that we've discussed the similarities and differences between renting and buying, comment below on whether you're currently renting or have decided to purchase. Here's my 2 cents on when it makes sense to rent versus buying. If you plan to only live in a place for a couple of years, my rule is 2 or less, or you are moving to a new city that you're just unfamiliar with the area, I think it makes the most sense to rent. It's very difficult in less than a 2-year period to make back enough money and appreciation to cover all of the transactional costs of purchasing and selling. And if you're moving to a new area, it's really great to get all of your bearings before you decide where you really want to settle down and invest. The rest of the time, I think you should purchase. So here are some things that might be holding you back from that process. Number one is lack of knowledge or having fear around it. I think the unknown is always very scary for people. So it's really important to have a trusted advisor that can help walk you through the entire process from beginning to end. Next is lack of down payment. So obviously you have to have some money for a down payment and for closing costs. There are some really great low down payment options, all the way down to 0% or 3.5% down. This allows people with even very little saved to be able to invest and purchase. If you want to save though and purchase in the future, you have to remember that you're going to have to make some lifestyle changes in order to be able to save that money to then be able to purchase down the road. The next reason I hear often from clients is that you don't want the commitment of purchasing. But the reality is that you're paying a mortgage one way or the other. It's just whether it's your own or someone else's. And so again, if you're going to be there for 2 years or longer, you're still in a better position of committing to your own place and having that opportunity of getting your money back versus the money just being thrown out the window. If you're still unsure whether to rent or to buy, Book a personal consultation with me by emailing Stephanie@lavellegroup.com, and we'll craft the perfect solution for you. So if you liked the breakdown, give us a like and subscribe so that you don't miss out on any other critical home buying insight.